So Susannah, tell us about the diagnosis. How did that come about?
Okay, I went to my local GP in July of 2011 with a concern about a lump in my breast. He then told me to go and have a ultrasound, which I did, and from there it proved that more tests were required. So I went back and had a biopsy, and that's when we found out that I had a grade 3 cancer of the breast.
So what were the steps that you were recommended to take from that diagnosis? So what did they suggest that you do from the medical side of it? Did they suggest surgery?
Yes, okay. Straight away.
Yeah, surgery. Yeah. And what about chemotherapy and radiation?
Well, we weren't up to that at that stage, but surgery definitely, which was pretty scary. Anyway, I decided to have the surgery, which consisted of a lumpectomy, and they took 2 nodes.
And so that's when you refer to nodes, you mean the
lymph nodes, yes, under the arm. Anyway, pathology post-surgery proved that one of the nodes was positive. So, and also the area around the lumpectomy was a bit murky, so they had to do a recession of that area.
So second surgery?
Second surgery, probably 4 weeks later, and that consisted of a auxiliary clearance. So they took 10 more nodes, which thankfully proved negative. They were all clear. They cleaned up the area around the breast, and yeah, we went on from there.
Okay. So after the surgery, what were the next steps you took in relation to treatment?
Okay, they wanted me, and I did do 4 weeks of radiotherapy. I was advised very heavily to do chemotherapy, which I was petrified about. So
where does the fear come around the chemotherapy?
Well, I've witnessed it firsthand as a young girl. I watched my father die a very horrible, long death.
From chemotherapy or a combination?
From lung cancer, and he was having chemotherapy, which was really horrible to watch as a young child.
So did you then change your mind about having the chemo?
I just knew in myself that it wouldn't suit me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were there any side effects of that treatment, the radiation?
Radiation, no, not particularly. No, that was pretty straightforward.
So at what stage did you choose or decide to actually go down the route of chemo?
Oh, well, that didn't happen till probably a year later, when I started to develop a pretty severe pain in my right hip. I put it down to working too hard at the council throwing stuff out and all that, but it wasn't the case. I went and had all of the tests and so on, and it showed that it had metastasized quite a bit.
So just for people who don't know what that means, what does metastasize
Well, that means that it spreads.
Okay.
It spreads.
So it had spread from the initial surgery down into the hip?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So again, what was the recommendation for you? More surgery?
No surgery, but a heavy dose of chemotherapy.
And so you then chose to follow that path?
At this stage I did, because I felt that there was a bit of, I had family members and so on, and it was all just, we were starting to grasp at straws. Because I didn't know it was so severe.
I know it's difficult, but would you like to share the effects of the chemo on you?
Well, the first chemo that I started was actually an oral chemo called Xeloda, and it didn't really affect me so much at all. I mean, you didn't lose your hair. The only thing really that affected you was you would get very tired and lethargic and so on. So, and a bit of depression thrown in, which I think is part of the whole deal.
Did they recommend anything for the depression?
Yes.
And
of
that
course. Louvain.
So more medication.
Yeah, medication.
Did at any point did they make any suggestions of change in diet, exercise, any kind of natural method of living a daily life to assist?
Basically, not a great deal. No.